The San Francisco 49ers had a massively disappointing 2024 season. Injuries came and really destroyed them. And now we look at the 49ers entering 2025, and they are a different team. They're in a transition era where they're not ready to contend for a Super Bowl, nor do I think they're ready to really make damage in the playoffs. They have to overturn a lot of roster due to paying Brock Purdy a lot of money, and they're going to have to shed more salary cap in the years to come. And they started doing that this offseason. They got rid of a lot of veteran starters for this team and guys who made impacts to help get them to 2 Super Bowls during the prior era. But now the question is, what are the 49ers capable of in the 2025 season? Are they going to be really good, the normal we are used to in the Kyle Shanahan era? Or are they still building up? Are they ready to get back to that high point? Well, let's discuss that today as we preview the San Francisco 49ers. Talk about the 49ers, we do have to start off the offseason and mainly free agency where they lost a lot of guys. Aaron Banks went to the Green Bay Packers. Charcavius Ward went to the Indianapolis Colts. Talo Huafunga and Dre Greenlaw went to the Denver Broncos. Jalen Moore went to the Kansas City Chiefs. That, I think, is addition by subtraction. Javon Hargrave went to the Vikings. Malik Collins went to the Browns. Leonard Floyd went to the Falcons. Isaac Yiadom went to the Saints. They lost a lot of guys, including backup quarterback Josh Dobbs. Now they did replace him, ironically, with Mac Jones. And anybody who was paying attention when the 49ers had the 3rd overall pick in the draft knows why that's kind of funny. But we look at the 49ers here, and I don't think that's too bad of a negative. They were going to have to let guys go, and they did trade Deebo Samuel as well. That's what happens when you have to pay a lot of these young guys. You have to let the older guys walk. They paid Brandon Ayuk. They paid Brock Purdy. They still paid George Kittle, who is older, and Christian McCaffrey, who is older. But those two, you can argue, when healthy, are the best at their position. And that's not something you necessarily want to lose. Deebo Samuel looked like he was slowing down in recent years. And a lot of the defenders they got rid of weren't doing as much as we thought they would be. Dre Greenlaw has not looked the same since tearing his Achilles against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Now, to be fair, that can take a while to rehab. I'm not going to say he's not the same player he once was. Just not a bet I would make paying him over $10 million a year for 3 years. Huafunga was someone who really splashed on for the 49ers, but really faded. He wasn't that impact player that we all thought he could be, and letting him go for the salary he got paid by Denver, I think is very smart. Charcavius Ward, over 30, you have to cut ties there, and you have to get younger defensively. Aaron Banks, you can argue it's a big loss. I trust the Packers' evaluation with guards, really good, but I never felt like Aaron Banks was worth the money they paid him, so that's something I'm going to be very curious to see how that impacts 49ers and Packers this season. Now, you look at maybe a Leonard Floyd. Sucks you lost him, but he's also 33 years old, $10 million for 1 year, not the best, and you had to get rid of the Hargrave contract because that was going to sink you. The 49ers did the thing that a lot of teams need to do when they have to pay the quarterback. They had to shed salary. The Buffalo Bills did it. They're good. You look at other teams that have done it recently. The Chiefs did it recently. They're still really good. The Ravens will have to do it here sooner than later with paying Lamar. It's just the case with these type of contracts, especially when the 49ers are paying top-of-the-line salary to multiple positions. They have to pay a lot of money to Nick Bosa. They have to pay a lot of money to Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, and now Brock Purdy. You're going to lose guys. And even though the 49ers didn't really replace them in free agency, I still think it was a very good free agency period because you got out before regression really bit them. Instead of paying these guys these enormous salaries and they're going to regress on your team, you get out of them. You get comp picks for 2026 to really help rebuild the depth, rebuild this team. I think it was an A-plus free agency period for the 49ers. So to talk about the San Francisco 49ers draft, I think it's important to note I have a podcast on this channel which I go more in depth into it. I have my issues with one pick mainly, and that's their first pick, Mykel Williams. Mykel Williams was a guy never bought into because he was a pass rusher that I never felt rushed the passer. He's a traitsy guy from Georgia. I've heard that story before, and I've seen how it works out a lot of the times. He does have traits. Yes, he is a phenomenal athlete. Yes. And you can always point out, hey, he dominated that bowl game against Florida State. That Florida State team did not have a lot of their starting players playing, and their O-line was not all that great. And they also were going against, I believe it was a 3rd and 4th string quarterback at one point in that football game. Really take that game with a grain of salt, everyone. Mykel is the type of guy that I scratch my head and I'm either going to be 100% right on or dead wrong on because he is a very traitsy guy and you are putting him with Robert Saleh, one of the best defensive minds in the NFL. Robert Saleh can work magic with a lot of people. I would not rule it out of the question of him making magic with Micah Williams. That being said, I am very pessimistic about this pick. Then we look at their second round pick, Alfred Collins. I got nothing to complain about here. Alfred Collins, I think, is actually a better pass rusher than Micah Williams, and it's an interior pass rusher, which is a little bit scarier for quarterbacks because they don't like pressure from the interior. He's also got some really good run game defense film. I like him a good bit. I think this was a really good pick for them. And I'm just going to read off really their first half of the draft class, or to a certain point, because I noticed the theme with their draft class. Nick Martin from Oklahoma State. I didn't care for him in the pass game, but he was really good in rush defense. Then we look at Upton Stout. Good corner, can come downhill, play the run. Then we look at CJ West. CJ West was a guy I had a big draft crush on. Never felt him as a pass rusher in the interior, but I was always like, this dude is going to make running the football on a nightmare, especially as he grows more into his body. And that's the case the 49ers really addressed this draft, was they are sick of being ran on. And that's very important when you look at the division they're in. The Seahawks love to run the football. Sean McVay in the Los Angeles Rams love to run the football. The Arizona Cardinals love to run the football. They are in a run-heavy division, and you look at the 49ers, if they can't stop the run, those are 6 crucial games that would really impact their season. And them really doubling down on, hey, we need to stop the run. We need to stop the run. Even though I don't like Micah Williams, the 11th pick, I at least understand, hey, he has some good rush defense film. Let's look at it like that. Now, there's one last pick I want to mention is Jordan James. Jordan James was someone I raved about during the draft class because he had potential to me. The number one thing I want to see the 49ers do, because I think he's got a lot of really good traits and a lot of really good film, but the one thing he struggles with is he gets too amped up. He needs to be told, breathe. If he breathes a little bit on the field before he gets the ball, if he settles down because he rushes plays, this dude has all the potential in the world to be one of the top running backs from this class, and in my opinion, a top half of the league running back in the NFL. He is uber talented, has good power, has some good burst, really good in pass pro, just a guy you really want to invest on for a running back, especially in the 5th round. If you can get him to settle down before the play, this dude can be amazing. Now, the 49ers' strength, I struggled a bit with this because I see issues with everything I would consider a strength. Receiving core, I love Brandon Ayuk, but he's coming off a torn ACL, and Ricky Pearsall Jr., another guy I do like, really didn't get a lot of development during his rookie season due to circumstances out of his control, but Juwan Jennings does really make that interesting, so they were in high consideration for me there. Their defensive line and front 7, I like as a strength for run defense. I have major concerns about rushing the passer because I think it's Nick Bosa and just prayers, but you want to look strictly at a run defense aspect, I really like it. Corners and linebackers, Fred Warner's amazing. You want to always say that as a strength. Go ahead, I won't blame you. Quarterback, I'm not the biggest Brock Purdy fan, but he's far from the biggest issue on this team. Offensive line, outside Trent Williams, can't say I'm too big of a fan of. So when I say the strength, I would say they have some of the best top-end talent in the league. And it's not like they only play on one side of the ball. You look at defense, they have Nick Bosa, they have Fred Warner, 2 of the best guys at their position. Now you look at the offense, they have Ayuk, who is still really good, George Kittle, who is still really good, Christian McCaffrey, who is still really good when healthy, and then you look at Brock Purdy, who just manages the game really well. At their premium positions, I think they have enough talent for me to rule that as a strength. The weakness, I think it's just the depth overall. This team doesn't really have a lot of depth that gets me too excited about. And that's just the thing. Like, I look at all of this roster and I just see, I like some of these top end guys, but once we get down a bit, it's not good. And that's the case of the 49ers for such a successful run that they really didn't get a lot of these draft picks. They didn't get a lot of high draft picks. They didn't get just draft picks in general. They were trading them for assets. They went all in for a Super Bowl. When you go on for a Super Bowl, when the rebuild starts, your depth is really depleted. And that's just the case of the San Francisco 49ers right now. They have a lot of talent on this team, but you're really concerned about how it's going to hold up during a 17-game regular season. Now, where do I have the 49ers finish in the division? This is probably a very hot take because I'm going to stress this right now, 49ers fans. I like the direction they're going, but I don't think this season's going to be all too good. I think they're the 4th best team in the division. I think the Rams are just better. I believe the Rams are just the best team in that division by a long shot. Then I look at the Cardinals, Seahawks, and 49ers, and you could make an argument that any of those teams can be second. I'm going to give a slight edge to the teams that are building up instead of been going downwards. I like with what the Seahawks have for a lot of roster talent. They have questions on their own. Cardinals, same thing. Then I look at the 49ers. I just really concerned about the depth. I feel like those teams who have had more draft picks, more ability to really stockpile the depth, will hold up down the stretch in a 17-game regular season compared to the San Francisco 49ers. This is not me calling the 49ers a bad team. I think they could easily make the playoffs, but I also look at them and I'm like, is it the best thing long term? I know 49ers fans, you want to make the playoffs, but this team could use some more depth. They could use some more draft picks, and they're going to get that with a lot of comp picks in 2026. This team is going to be really different in the 2026 season. I think they're just a year away from being back to that 49ers run we've been used to in recent years. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers by the start of the NFL regular season. At the time of this recording, I'm at 280. All the love, all the support, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd share this, again, I'd appreciate it. If you disagree with me, go down in the comment section. Tell me why I'm wrong, or just give me your opinion. I love seeing the comments. I love seeing people's opinions on their teams, or even if you're just a neutral party, I enjoy it. I hope you all enjoyed this. I have more content coming down the wire. There is a 32 and 32 series on this channel that the playlist is on the screen right now, 32 team previews. San Francisco 49ers are in the home stretch, not many more to upload. But pretty soon, we're about to get into some fantasy football territory, so I hope you all come check that out when that comes up on the channel. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and have a great day.